Twitter, everyone's unmuted, so it should be everybody should hear everything.
No,
The
it's
only
just
thing
streaming. Excuse me. StreamYard is streaming. We're live.
Oh, wow. It's requiring me now on X to have a premium account. It never used to do that. Wow. Elon is not messing around.
Well, he's going on X, so just leave that for now.
I can't. You're breaking up.
All right. So they're not going to let me go live on X, but we're live on YouTube right now. And then you're going live on X, right?
I'm live on X. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think we're in a really good spot. The only question is, I heard you crackle just a little bit. Let's hear you one more time, Jay.
Yeah, you're okay. Your picture is a little pixelated on my phone, but you look good on my laptop.
Oh, fascinating. Okay. Well,
That's okay. We're not going to use that.
We've closed down as many as we humanly can.
Yeah.
All right. We're about ready to get started. Let's have a quick conversation here and get ready for an electrifying episode of Authenticated as I, Mama H, with my partner in crime over here, Ann Judson Yeager, our resident interpersonal relationship coach, sits down with me, all of us, and Joseph Jaffe, a true titan in the world of marketing. Jaffe isn't just a marketing strategist, but he's a visionary who's reshaping how brands engage with their audiences. He's the brilliant mind behind such books as Flip the Funnel and Join the Conversation. Everybody, let's give a warm welcome tonight for our special guest, Joseph. Fantastic. It's wonderful to have you here. And I feel so many times, as I've just had the luxury of meeting you here recently, that you are just a brother from another mother. And we jokingly start off a little bit of everything we do here on Authenticated with a little bit of the history about you, who you are from just your ancestors. Tell us a little bit about where your family's from, and we'll continue through and understanding a little bit about you. Thank you.
Well, I'm from South Africa, but in the US, there's always a game. So an American will always. Well, I'm an American now, but American will come up to me and they'll say something like, toss another shrimp on the barbie, and so they'll immediately think I'm Australian, and I'll go, nope, try again, and then they'll go like, I don't know, governor, can I have some bangers and mash? And I'll go, okay, not England either. And then they're stumped. And this is like the greatest thing ever with Americans. So then I go, well, how about a third guess? And the third guess is Germany, Liechtenstein, Brazil, the moon. The third guess is not even close. It's not even a Commonwealth country. It's just like, seriously, Russia? Where? So, funnily enough, so when you go back to South Africa, there are two influences. There's the Dutch, the Dutch East India Company, and then there's the English, the British. But my ancestors are from Lithuania. So Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. We were amongst the many waves of Jews that were, that had to flee from persecution, from the pogroms at the turn of the century. And so many Jews went to America and many Jews went to South Africa. I'd like to believe that the ones who went to South Africa took a wrong turn and somehow ended up in South Africa. But yeah, so that's kind of where I hail from. And my accent now is, I don't know what it is. It's, I guess it's South African, but with a little bit of an American twang.
That's great. South African with an American twang. And do you still remember any of your grandparents? Are they still around? Anybody parents, all that stuff. Are you still like what? So tell me some of those fond memories though, because people always talk about them.
Well, actually, it's a very small family. I always say that any Jaffes today are either married or created, through procreation. But my on my mother's side, my she lost her father when she was young, when she was about 10, and her mom she lost a couple of weeks after I was born, so I didn't know them at all. But my grandfather and my grandmother I knew, and my grandfather passed away when I was about 13, 13, 14. My grandmother lived long enough to see uh, one and a half of my children. Well, I mean, my second kid was very, very young.
Ah,
But so it's very small family, very, very, very small family, and I was lucky enough to marry into a very large family, and so I cling to family whenever I can get it. I
no, like
suppose
completely.
Chad is family now, maybe.
So do you like a lot of noise and a lot of chaos, or do you just like the big family feel?
Yeah, like it's part of my personality is trying to like figure out. Um, I mean, I guess I've liked the concept of being the extroverted introvert.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm probably, my not that I'm like so into it, but from an astrology standpoint, I'm a Capricorn, but by my moon rising is Leo, so I'm seen as the lion. I'm seen as the extrovert, as the leader. But I read this brilliant article on extroverted introverts, and I was like, there was a checklist, and like this is me. So like I've keynoted in 51 countries, like based on my books, and so I'm the person I keynote, and everybody wants to talk to me because I'm the keynote, right? It's not like I'm important, but and then people are like, "We're gonna go out," and I'm like, "I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna, you know, turn in early, thinking to myself, I'm gonna put on my robe, order my room service." And then I'm like, okay, fine, I'll come. And then I'm the last person to leave. I'm the
Yeah.
last person to leave
Awesome.
there, like throwing my name, ruining my reputation. So that's the one side of me. The other side of me, I'll go out, I'll be with my friends and family, having a good time, kind of life of the party. And then something happens. It's like a little click, and I cannot, I despise everyone around me. Like all I want to do is be in my bed, in my pajamas, away from humans. And it's like I suddenly have a reaction to people. I'm like, just get me away from these people. Like they're like driving me mad when 5 minutes before we were hanging out and having a good time. So I'm kind of learning, kind of coping. This is why, like through COVID, I've changed so much. Like I love this. I love the virtual intimacy, the asynchronous intimacy of being on these platforms, even my show. And then it's an hour, and then I can say, bugger off.
Right. Now that's perfect because you do have it timed. You're down to a system. And for those of us that are just kind of listening through StreamYard or YouTube, what we have going on is we have various people in the room already right now who'll be able to ask questions. And we call it a live digital audience. And we just have some of the most amazing people, loving people, great people in the room. And we'll open it up here shortly. But we just want to get a little bit more of your backstory. So help me understand, when did the family or you move from South Africa here to the States?
So, my standard line is I moved for all the wrong reasons. I moved for love. I moved for my ex-girlfriend and my current wife. That's all, standard lines. That's my shtick. But I came here because long distance relationship with my girlfriend on and off, and after about 4 years, I just couldn't take it anymore. And so it came down to like the fact that everything is a variable in life, except the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And so I walked away. I had this amazing job working for Nando's Chicken Land, the Taste of Portugal, a
I
quick
love
service restaurant.
Nando's. Oh my gosh,
I
their
don't know what
peri
Nando's is.
peri. It's the best. It's the
Yep.
best Portuguese food
I
ever.
was
I had no clue.
Wait, do they have it here?
I was
It's no,
employed.
I had it in the UK. I had no clue they had it in
Oh.
South Africa. Keep
That's right.
This is crazy.
I'm
I was
God.
jealous.
marketing
I feel
employee
like
number
we're gonna
3.
have to have a party now.
I have some peri peri sauce in the like hot sauce in there. We're gonna try after. Sorry.
I've got it downstairs. I got it downstairs. So I was marketing employee number 3. Company was about to go public. Just bought a townhouse. I was coaching little 5-year-olds soccer. I was teaching at one of the colleges. I was singing in a choir. I was just like, my life was full, except for the fact that I had this, like I was, love was a massive, massive gap in my life, and so I just quit. And within 3 months, I was in the US without a clue. I mean, I'll stop just after the first anecdote, which is I arrived here on a tourist visa, applying to do an MBA. I'm thinking, smartest idea is to come in and do an MBA, acclimatize, integrate, assimilate, learn the culture, create an alumni network from the schools. But I don't know standardized testing. I don't know what GMAT is. I don't know what Kaplan and Princeton tests are. So I didn't do well on my GMAT. And then I applied to 5 schools. Now this is the power of branding that put me in the arse, because I arrive here. I mean, not arrive here. Like, what are the schools that I apply? I'm like looking at the names I know. I go, Harvard, heard of them. Wharton, heard of them. Columbia, heard of them. So I applied at all these Ivy League schools. There was no safety. They were all reach. And like within a few weeks, I was like, oh crap, I've got 3 weeks to get a job, otherwise I'm out of here. So
Wow. So you got denied from all, like that's and you still picked it up and figured it out. And then you had like 3 weeks to get a job. Did you get, well, obviously it worked out.
So story number 2, by the way, the irony of ironies in all this beautiful, mess that we call life is that today I'm an adjunct professor teaching at NYU. I've lectured MBA students. I've written books that MBA students have learned from. I mean, it's just, I remember going to Philip Kotler's lecture at Kellogg. I mean, I learned from his textbook. Philip's been on my show. We keynoted events together. So it's just crazy how things. It's just crazy how things worked out. So, but anyway, I've got like 3 or 4 weeks to get a job. So, and I'm kind of screwed. So I start thinking to myself, well, I guess I'll get a job in advertising because I know marketing and advertising. And I start going and, using a little bit of networking, South African network, etc. And it's not working at all. I'm walking and going, I'm a big shot. I mean, I say that, but like, I'm talking up Nando's and they're like, I've never heard of Nando's.
Right.
So suddenly all this equity that I thought I had meant nothing. I was nothing. I had nothing. And I realized, like, oh crap, you're like literally at the back of the line. And I started to get pretty desperate because I just, it just wasn't working. And one of the most, so this is like one of my favorite stories. I don't know why or how or whatever. This is 1997. I took my resume and I put it onto PowerPoint as a multimedia presentation. And I pulled photos from the University of Cape Town and photos of Nando's and video and I mean, this is like kind of the early days in terms of the web and everything. We've still got AOL CDs and dial-up modems, and I start using things, and I'm using animations in terms of how the text is scrolling and the builds and how the slides are moving from one to the other, and then I go and I walk into, I think it was Wine or Rubicon, and they say to me, please can you hand us a copy of your resume? And I said, no. They said, what do you mean no? I said, I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to show it to you. And I proceeded to present my resume to them with sound, with multimedia, with animations, and I got a call back. And so I came back, and the room was filled with about 20 people, and I was like, feeling like $1,000,000. And I went and presented the whole thing again. They applauded afterwards, and I said to them, "So what job am I interviewing for?" And they all looked at me, and this is like one of the worst moments, I think, of my life. And they said, "Oh, there isn't a job. We just heard about how amazing this presentation was, and we wanted to see it for ourselves." So I was like the circus, member of the freak, like a freak show. But I continued to use this approach, this prop, and I ended up getting a job at Ogilvy. So,
Right.
what I
There you
didn't
go.
realize at the time is how I was being innovative and how necessity is the mother of invention. And by the way, when I went to Ogilvy the first time, I went and pulled stuff off their website, Ogilvyisms from David Ogilvy, saying these are the Ogilvyisms that I really identify with. And then when I knew I was being interviewed for a job working on IBM, which is one of the greatest accounts you could have imagined, global,
Ever. Yeah.
brand. I pulled stuff from IBM. And anyway, it was, the rest was history.
That's amazing. This is one of the things that Joseph and I share together, as we've all worked for some of the biggest and most impressive agencies out there. I didn't know you also were on the IBM side. I worked for IBM, right? That was my first job.
No way, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I learned very quickly. None of us really in our family had done corporate before. And to go to the biggest corporate, I mean, people were so proud. They were just like, "Oh my gosh, how'd you do it?" And I did it with some organizations called Inroads, and it was tough getting in there. And then I left it for GE, and people thought I had gone mad.
I think
it was the best experience. But yeah, go ahead.
You're breaking up. I don't know if it's just me. Can someone let us know if it's just me?
No. Yeah, she's breaking up.
Okay, so it isn't just me.
Okay.
How are we
Mama
doing?
H, you're breaking up.
Still.
By the way, no, you're still breaking up, but here's what I'll do. I'll riff a little bit for the people that are in the room. I'll riff a little bit for the people in the room because I want you to see what I'm seeing. So this is us on StreamYard at the moment. And so it's just a little bit of like behind in the sausage factory, as it were. So I'm also streaming live on Twitter. And in order to have my phone stand up, I'm using like my glasses case. So there's my roadcaster. And my office is an absolute mess because we're moving. We just sold our house. So you can see like everything is just bare. Just giving you a little bit of,
I love it.
I don't know,
Are we
behind the
still
scenes.
breaking up, or are we clear now?
You still breaking up a little.
Interesting.
That is so weird because we don't sense it at all on our end.
Mm-mm.
And hopefully it's our end that's doing the recording. So we will continue to push through.
Maybe just switch Wi-Fi off and on. Sometimes that helps.
We'll see if we don't lose you guys.
Right. We're going to take just
But
a second.
while you're doing that, if anyone wants to.
While we're doing that, is anyone with questions?
I think
Yeah, please feel free to put questions in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, listen, can they come off mute? Or is it like muted?
They can come off mute.
Yeah, we can come off mute, but I just walked in, so
all right.
What's going on?
All right, I think you're back. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Okay, let's give it a shot. How is that?
Okay, I think you're back.
Okay, fantastic. Yay, good job. All right, so what we were going to
I got a question for you. I'm going to turn the tables. Would you have been a tough client in the agency world? I think you would have been tough.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the part of me that I talk about that's almost embarrassing, is it wasn't until years later in my life that I'd been on the other side, right? That I'd been on both sides, that I could understand it and see it. You put me now, I'm going to be the best client you've ever had. But at 20 something, in an exclusive leadership development program at IBM and at GE, I thought I was top shit. And there was not much that you could tell me. And so my notion was not necessarily in building relationships as much as it was in getting the job done. All right, tell me about, now that I'm going to flip it back on you then.
Okay.
Tell me your style as working with the client. Was it really about being liked, or was it about creating something that was ultimately going to break through? What drove you?
Well, look, I haven't had a job since 2002. Not a voluntary one. And when I say not a voluntary one, because I started a company which was acquired in 2010, but I do really badly in a corporate environment. Startups are different, but corporate environments, I literally, it's funny because I've been doing in my collective cafe, reading a book called Crucial Conversations. And I really identified with this concept of silent and violent, in terms of, so two things would happen with me. I'd either get violent. Violent doesn't mean violent. It means using words to further your own agenda. But for me, I was the digital, like for example, I was the digital guy trying to say this thing called the internet is actually going to be a big deal. You should be spending less money on television ads and maybe more on this, on banners at the time. And boy, was I right, or I'd get silent, which is I'd just get withdrawn, and I would not volunteer the information. I would just kind of like sulk. I mean, sulk or just kind of like wither. And so I, especially my life was much easier when I was, I don't think I've ever shared this thought before, which was my life was much easier when I was more junior. Because when I was more junior at Ogilvy, it's kind of like, children should be seen but not heard. It wasn't my place to speak up. It wasn't my place to be a rebel, etc. It was my place at the time to do what I was told. Life has changed now, even when I look at my kids. And when, like I'm 53. When I was at Ogilvy, I worked 65 to 80 hour week. I worked my arse off. I didn't question. I did what I was told. And maybe now, if I could do it all over again, I would do things differently. I would realize how much talent and potential, not just myself, but everyone has, and how inefficient the corporate world is. But when I got more senior, I was a nightmare probably to work with because I'm so passionate, and I fall on my sword. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I end up just, it just explodes out of my mouth, and I invariably piss someone off. So.
But it sounds like that's a strategist. I mean, I was in the account management side, and we were constantly fighting for the creative all day
I
long.
was a strategist.
And you know what I mean? And because people, I'm sorry, typical marketing MBAs, whatever, they didn't get the creative. They'd make some of the dumbest decisions. And we were like, no, we're going to fight for pushing you to the extreme because it's got to break through. If it were up to them, they'd be watching black and white, Cheerios ads all day.
I can't deal with dumb people. I just can't. But I can't deal with mediocrity. I can't deal with lazy people. I can't deal with political people. And so I remember very, very clearly, we were doing focus groups, and all the clients stuffing their faces with M&Ms while we're watching people behind a one-way mirror. And it was for VIX. And we were doing claims research, and one of the claims was, this idea of recharges my energy or something like that. Someone turned around and said, it makes me think of like a battery. Like a battery is recharged, and the clients were like, I don't like that. I don't want us to think of it to be associated with a battery. And I was like, but what's wrong with you? Like, it's a clear association. And making an association, it's not ambiguous in terms of this idea of being recharged. And I remember
walking out of the focus
group that
group
day.
that day.
I'm like, you're here just listening for what you want to hear.
Yep.
Selective listening, selective perception. This is not about truth. It's about your agenda.
Absolutely, but their agenda is definitely, I feel like that it's tied to your job, and more importantly, it's tied to your bonus. And it just feels like you don't get fired for playing the safe route. Right? You get fired if it goes bad. And you sometimes get promoted, but usually it's like the senior person that gets promoted for stuff that's just literally ingenious. I mean, we all heard of like 1984, and I know you can probably walk us through that commercial, and I'd love to get your perspective on, we're going to give you, we're going to ask you a question here soon on your top 10 commercials or ads of all time, campaigns.
You're breaking up again.
Okay. Well, let's take a break.
It should take a quick
But just I'll have people.
Oh, we can't.
No.
Yeah, I'll just have people in the audience just.
What'd you say?
What I heard was 1984.
But 1984, but specifically the commercial.
Yes, no, that's what I meant. And for people that don't know, that Apple commercial was aired only once ever, and that was the Super Bowl. And it literally put them on the map.
Wow.
So one of the things that I wanted to say is that commercial almost never happened. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the clients were ready. The clients were ready to basically, nix it, to not approve it. Every time in life, like almost to a fault, that anything truly brilliant, breakthrough, innovative, original, disruptive that we think of today, like almost, I guarantee you, every time, it almost never happened. It was about to be killed. It was about to be, because sometimes you just have to get to the edge. You have to get to the edge. You have to flirt to the edge. That's how you know that you're alive, and how you know you've got something.
You're absolutely right.
Again, yes, I'm assuming
and the only reason it ran is because they couldn't get their money back for the spot. So they went ahead with it. Let's go ahead and take a break. We're going to take 5 minutes. We're going to work on some things here, and we will recapture what is going on. You guys are here on Authenticated with Mama H and Judson Yeager, and our special guest for tonight, which has been the one and only marketing brilliant genius, Joseph Jaffe. We are going to take this break now, and he's adorable. He can hear that. He can absolutely hear the brilliance that is him. We're going to take a 5-minute break where you might be, if you're listening to us live, hear someone back. We'll recap, and we'll get started on the next phase, which we love to do. We're going to get into
I'm going to say, we know you have a choice of rooms, and even though most people are sitting in a room debating whether explicit rooms or non-explicit rooms are the way to go, we're glad that you chose Mama H Airlines.
Non-explicit room. Okay, that's awesome. All right, so we're on break here, guys. So we're hoping that you come off cam. We're gonna do right now. We're gonna do a top 10. So we're gonna ask Joseph for his top 10, or you can do a top 5. It's up to you. Advertisements or marketing campaigns. I am going to pull a couple of those up so people can see. I'll have 1984 pulled up here, and we will share screen on this one. Do you think we can share screen?
Yeah.
And we're just gonna, if you can, I'll let you do this. If you can YouTube, and you say Apple 1984, and we will run that commercial. We'll share the screen in here when we come back. I'm actually assuming that's one of your top 5, but it may not be. Now, Joseph, I'm thinking
you're breaking up again.
Okay. You think it's because both of us are on the same Wi-Fi?
It's because I'm using this. Every time I do something,
it could be.
Okay, then maybe we should get you on a different Wi-Fi because I have a guest one. All right, let's see. Can you click on your Wi-Fi?
You sound great in my ear, by the way.
Beg your pardon?
You sound great on StreamYard.
Yeah, I agree. It's working on there. So something's happening here where it's not as compressed. But let's go to your desktop. Yep. And then let's just use a different one.
I'll play around.
Here and do Linksys, this one here.
Mhm.
And then do Aquatic Star.
Here, go ahead.
Okay.
That way you don't have to.
So I've got my daddy juice here.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes,
And then
good.
my other,
It's the combo. It's the killer
That's not
I
combo.
have to go get some more wine.
The stimulant and the depressant.
good. Yeah, exactly. It nets out. But it's nice to see Kate and Andrea, Lisa, Martin, Max, Khalil. Come on up.
Okay. Oh well, we'll have to stay on there. I don't know what the password is for it. But so what's happening? That's exactly what they were. This is what you were sharing with us. We're going to have to cut her, it seems like, to have more of a stable connection. Is this what you were saying, Max?
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. Well, let's try to do that.
Let's close you out of here. Is that it?
Yeah, it's
All right, so let's give it. So then I'm going to be, can you reach, do you think there or do you, okay,
yeah.
fantastic. So, we can take a moment here. Let me just get a little bit of water and we will start up. And I'm so excited to be talking marketing with you, dude. Branding, I'm so beyond ecstatic. Because like you said, you've had conversations with just some of the best. I'd also like really be interested. Now, were you account, creative, or strategy?
I actually did a bit of everything. I started out as a suit. First of all, I started out as a client. I was on the marketing side, and then at Ogilvy I was a suit. I was in client service. Moved over to DMB&B, and I moved into account planning. And then when I went to Shire Day, I started out as an interactive strategist, and then somehow, I don't know how, but I ended up running interactive media. So I was running the interactive media department, which it was so messed up. They didn't know what they were doing. I mean, agencies didn't know what they were doing, because within interactive media, you had analytics, you had strategists, and you had media planners and buyers. The only thing that I didn't have underneath me was creative. When I look back now, I probably was meant to either be creative, actually, or a planner. Most likely a planner. You know, all the people with English accents ended up being planners.
That's totally it.
We do have to tend to wear a lot of hats in today's economy, period. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know if you heard.
Oh, can you hear us?
And yeah, did that not break through? Okay. We're not going to be able to pull in some of the videos and other things because it's just really, it's really strange for us. We have 1 gigabit internet and still sometimes we have challenges with some of technology, but we're going to go through it. So welcome back.
I thought it was me.
Authenticated with,
I didn't pay my bill last month.
No, go ahead.
No, I said I thought it was me. I didn't pay my bill last month.
Right. No, it's really it could be that you cheapskate not paying your bill. No, it's we're not entirely sure, but we are so much enjoying ourselves in the conversation. Welcome back to Authenticated with Mama H and Judson Yeager, and our special guest for the evening, Joseph Jaffe, the one and only. And we are just talking now about a little bit around his career. We have spent the time getting to know his roots in South Africa and his family from Lithuania and the moves that they made over time, not always by choice, but ultimately settling down. And Jaffe finding love, bringing him here stateside with the one. And it's such a beautiful love story, and that they're still married. Like, how many times do you hear that? That's fantastic. Kids and all. And now as he transitions to another kind of phase in life, moving from the big house in Connecticut to something a bit more, I don't know, cottagey, homey, whatever, into that space that we all do when the kids move, and we are excited, but it's just another phase. So now we're trying to get a little bit more. We found out about all the big brands that he's worked for and great companies within the advertising sphere. And now we'd like to get a little bit more into, tell us what you think about the world of advertising and marketing by doing our top 5. We're going to do a top 5 because the top 10 could be a long time, as we'll have to spend a little bit of time discussing some of these ads, as we'll pull them up later and you will see them on the edited version. But for now, I would love to know top 5. And if you can do it in the order of least favorite to most favorite. At number 5, can you tell us about the campaign or the ad that you absolutely love?
So just to let you know that you were still breaking up. I know Martin raised his hand. I just want to.
I was just going to let Mama know that she's been in and out of the matrix, and I know Max was sad to leave, but he said his connection was poor, and he thinks it might be the video. So I don't know. I don't want to suggest anything that you don't want to do, but maybe I don't know.
Well, we're going to try one other thing.
Going to put that out.
Which is, let's see if we can kick it on to a different one of these to a different one.
In the meantime, can you hear me, Joseph?
Yeah, I actually put you into my ears so that StreamYard has been amazing.
Okay, great. Beautiful. I'm curious, have you read the 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership?
No, tell me more.
But I think that there are so many books, I think, that are helpful when, you know, dealing with human beings that can be stupid, like the people that you were dealing with that were popping M&Ms while you were bringing brilliance into their world. Commitments of Conscious Leadership is one of those things. And I was just curious, as you've gone through, and like you said, you haven't had a job for quite a while, but we also have to deal with people. I'm curious if there has been turning points or books that you've read or things that you've done that have helped you create those kinds of relationships that you have to within those worlds.
It's such a brilliant question. Trying to think of the best way to frame a response. You know, if I'm looking back now, I moved away from the conflict and from the politics and certain, but throughout my life, you know, starting 2 businesses, dealing with more politics, I think I learned that you can have politics in a company with 2 people. Like, it's really not about the size of the company. I mean, it is, but it also isn't. And you know, I will tell you, like, I'm going to now fast forward all the way through to. I mean, my new book is called Forever Change: How a Global Pandemic Changed My Direction, My Purpose, and My Life. I have been changed through COVID. I stopped consulting. I stopped speaking. I stopped living out of a suitcase. I stopped keynoting. I stopped worrying about myself. I started the show, Corona TV, you know, a show about hope, positivity, and optimism. And if there's time left, a little bit of marketing. That's how I positioned it. The show was designed to help people that were stuck at home or stuck in general. It's even become part of my why now, which is to help people get unstuck. And now as a leader, I mean, the quick answer is I've learned more about myself and others in the last year of being a leadership and a business coach. Mindfulness, mindset, you know, safety, psychological safety, It's just been the biggest joy. Even thinking about things like psychedelics. Like the last year or two have just been phenomenal. And by the way, I dealt with what I call the trifecta of trauma. COVID decimated my business. Then I had open heart surgery in 2021 with
Oh, wow.
complications, additional surgery, infections, and then on top of it, I got COVID. And then my mom passed away in 2023. So these three traumatic moments, funny enough, moving house, they say, is like one of the top three traumatic moments. I'm much better equipped now, but so like, I mean, I think part of the answer is at our core, we are all good. At our core, we are all kind. At our core, that's just who we are. That's how we're programmed. And so any deviation from that is generally a sign, a cry for help. There's something going on. There's something going on. And, even in like reading Crucial Conversations now, you just realize, we just don't have coping skills. Like the bottom line is, we just don't have coping skills. And if we could just learn those coping skills, we'd be so much better. So like, I'm not saying that I will never work well in a big corporate environment. I might work well in a startup. But like I just can't deal with small-minded people and small things. Life is too short. I don't even know if I answered your question, but it just made me start thinking about so many things that I just to verbal diarrhea on you. Sorry.
No, it's beautiful. Everything you had to say is beautiful. Corporate culture is not designed for natural human living, so that makes sense.
Wait, you're still breaking up on the video.
That's right. Let's can you go to the chat and let's get your thoughts on some great ads. Top 5.
Okay. Are you going to present them to me and have me comment on them, or you want me to tell you?
You tell us.
Pulling them up might not work for our technology right now.
Yeah. Look, 1984 is I know you said least, but I just want to say, to me, 1984 is the greatest. It's the greatest because of the precedent it sets. It's the greatest because it literally put Apple on the map. It aired only once. Seth Godin says advertising is the tax we pay for being unremarkable. I created my own version, adding on to what Seth said, which is frequency is the tax we pay for being unmemorable. So you should only have to see an ad once in your entire life. And maybe everyone should see it once, but in this case, we're still talking about it today. So that to me is number one. And I'm trying to think, like, I mean, you didn't ask me this in advance, and so like I'm trying to think on my feet. I would have to put Nike in there. They're so I still can't hear you, by the way, so I'm just like, if you want to put in the chat, it might be easier just to communicate with me on chat. Or I'll just put this in my ear. It's just for the people that are in the audience, they can't hear you. You're like frozen at the moment. So I don't know if you want to come off video. Should we try that? Let's see. And then everyone gets to see my face.
You might have to leave your room and come back.
Yeah. Let's get this first. What a clusterfuck. This is not ready.
No.
I heard that though. No, I'm saying I heard that in here, but it is. It's definitely.
The truth is the truth.
So hold on.
We're doing our best
Should
to
I-
help
should I-
you.
I can hear you guys. So,
Okay.
so
Great.
I'll just talk to the people in the room.
Okay, cool.
But now I'm echoing. So,
No,
so
well,
I'll
can
say
we ask?
the second. I mean, Nike everything, right? Nike everything. And, you know, when we think about brands today, how many brands can we identify the tagline? Right? I mean, if I had to ask you to what's Coke's tagline? I don't know. What's Ford's tagline? I don't know. I don't know any of them. None of them stick anymore. None of them stick. What's Starbucks tag? I don't know. What's Amazon's? I don't know. There's an arrow. Like, you know, Target. I don't know. Like, these are the biggest brands today, and we don't even know what their tagline is. Nike, just do it. If Nike ever changes just do it, in my lifetime, I don't think they ever will. And if they ever do, I won't buy them again because it'll just be like, all because of people. Some, you know, excuse my French, dickhead took over and basically like decided it was time to change. But I don't think that will ever happen. So Nike, I wanted to dedicate my first book to Nike because it's like my motto: just do it. You know, just do it. Like, screw it. Let's do it. There's one commercial. I can't remember the exact what the campaign was called, but I remember it very clearly. Was I think he was a 10-year-old kid and morbidly obese. And he's running and you know, and he just keeps running. He's wheezing, and it's just it was part of their whole approach to say Nike isn't just for, you know, Usain Bolt and Tiger Woods and Kobe. It was just about everyone can be that athlete, can just do it. And what a lot of people don't know is this 10-year-old kid, he actually puked afterwards because how hard it was. But I just remember that ad, it connected with me. I've always been an overweight, you know, I'm overweight now, and I just struggle with my weight, and I just identified with him. And this was, to me, just like the greatest campaign. Nike coming back down to earth. So in a way, I'm like talking about brands as opposed to ads, but you probably got to put Dove up there too. Their whole campaign for real beauty. First time they basically said, "Oh, they've been lying to you, you know, all those supermodels and the Photoshop and the retouching, you know, like, you know, kind of this is real, you know, real women are beautiful on the inside, not just the outside." And it's like, well, that's true, by the way. You know, we know that it's true. You know, I have a daughter, but they really meant it. And every aspect of their entire marketing has reinforced again and again and again. I mean, I don't know if you saw that beautiful campaign where they had sketch artists come in and sit with women. And he drew them as he saw them, and then he also drew them as they described themselves. And for the most part, they all looked, their perceptions of themselves were just frightening compared to the way we see them, how they saw themselves. That, of course, is a product of social media and, you know, etc. So Dove's been fantastic, phenomenal in that regard. You know, a fourth one from the sublime to the ridiculous was, you know, I was going to say Burger King, but I'm going to say Nando's. So Nando's took the three taboos of sex, religion, and politics and often used all three. But the thing, like, we went out, and it was I was part of it, and we found he's unfortunately passed away. I think I don't know if he was murdered or if it was like drug or alcohol related. But, you know, in South Africa, they found, you know, a black man who was an unbelievable stand-up comic, impressionist, and they found him and plucked him out of obscurity, and he became their spokesperson doing these incredible impersonations. Billy Prince. I remember his name very well. And the first campaign in the series, he is so crazy. Like this is like 1995, like 30 years. Jesus, sorry, 30 years ago. I'm old. And it was like, friends, is there something? And he was like doing it in an American accent. So it was like, friends, is there something missing from your life? Something that you're yearning for. Many do, my friends. Many do. You know, and it was like, it was like, like peri chicken basking in the unmitigated glory. Like, and he was basically impersonating Jimmy Swaggart. And
That's hilarious.
people went nuts. Mental. The church went crazy. I'll never forget this. We got letters saying that they were going to basically firebomb Molotov cocktail our head office. I hid under my desk one day because there was a date and a time and everything. So what Nando's did is Nando's said, "Oh, we're terribly sorry that you know the worst thing to do if you're a spouse is to say, 'I'm sorry if I offended you,' right? You know, it's like the most passive aggressive thing a man can do to a woman. I'm sorry if I offended you." So we said he was just an overzealous salesperson. So what they did is they pulled the South African Broadcasting Standards, whatever they're called. They pulled the ad and they replaced it with him. And I got to hear your voice in this because it was.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, he's wearing a a suit and his hair is gray, and he goes like this. Allow me to address the nation. Because we are plump in the middle of the left wing and the right wing. He was impersonating our incredible leader, the one and only Madiba, Nelson Mandela. My hero. And he's doing Nelson Mandela. But of course, Nando's was like, what are you talking about? He's just a politician. And so that campaign got pulled. It put Nando's on the map, right? And the thing about Nando's is that, it's all about identity and purpose. And when you know who you are, and when you are like, Nando's, that was the brand. It was irreverent. It was deprecating, self-deprecating, provocative. And they didn't, and they played dumb. And, in a way, locker room talk, right? Our politicians have done that too, which is just to play dumb. What are you talking about, So, I mean, Nando's made an indelible impression on me, changed it. It made me who I am as a marketer, right? And so, like, I gotta put them up there. And then, the last one I'm just going to talk about. It actually, funnily enough, won, I think, a Grand Prix at Cannes, which was DoorDash. So DoorDash in the Super Bowl said that they were going to do, that they were going to give away every single advertiser on the Super Bowl. They were going to give away one or more, whatever. So like every car, every this, every that. And you had to find a hashtag and put in the hashtag, but it was the world's longest hashtag. And so it just went on throughout the 60-second commercial of every single brand. And it was like, holy crap, how are we going to find this hashtag? And so I'm watching. I want to win everything. So what do? I go to Twitter. I go to X, right? Twitter sends me to Discord. Discord sends me to Reddit. And between the internet won by figuring out this hashtag in minutes when it was almost impossible. And I actually entered it. I got it right in the end. But when I said the hashtag was like maybe, I don't know, 2,000 characters or something. It was insane. I just, that plus something Hyundai did on the Super Bowl during the mortgage meltdown and the whole credit crisis, which was lose your job, return your call. So for me, I believe that creativity, right? Marshall McLuhan said the medium is the message, and you can't discuss the content without the context. You can't discuss the actual creative without understanding not just the container that it appears in, but also the context and everything going on at the time. And like I'll just say one thing as well, like because look, one of the things that I mean, the events of this weekend were just, I mean, like still trying to grapple with what happened and what might have happened had things not happened the way they did. But I went and tweeted today and I said, who wore it better, Evander Holyfield or Trump? And then I said, instead of ironic, I wrote ironic, that probably Holyfield, ended up with more damage to his ear than Trump did. But Nando's would have created an ad out of that.
Yeah.
They would have said, ears looking at you, kid. Well, they would have done something like that. They would have had a field day in good taste or bad taste, but taste is a thing. And it's just, sometimes we just got to be able to we got to smile, we got to laugh, we got to just not take ourselves so seriously. So, the Hyundai ad I love because on the big stage, they were able to actually create something meaningful. Not just a farting donkey like Bud Light did, but actually say, we're going to take the world's largest stage to say, if you lose your job, give your call back. What a great message. It makes me feel wonderful about the brand forever. And of course, like what DoorDash did, fun, frivolous, but also understanding the context of people watching, that, the internet will always win. So anyway, I know there was a long answer, and I'm hoping your internet came back.
I loved the answer. I am super appreciative of it. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear us?
Sound amazing.
Okay. Well, inside of that, I have my favorites too, and I'll have to save that from when someone interviews me. But I so appreciate that. I never had the perspective on Nando's. So that was fantastic. And I would not have put Hyundai that high up, but I do remember that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But everything else, I mean, yeah, it's
Oh, for sure. That was great. I had forgotten about that campaign that they had done with the artists and the drawings. That was really, really impactful for me as a young woman coming up.
Yeah. Oh no, you're breaking up again. Ugh.
It's so bad.
It's all right. It is too sad. So we are going to, because of some technical, kind of wrap it up here. All right. We are going to wrap it up. Thank you all greatly. But before we wrap it up, and if Joseph, you can hear this, can you tell us a little bit about, and maybe if you can repeat my question, where are you headed next? What is your career and what do you have on tap that you would like to share with us?
Okay, so the question is, where am I headed next and what can I share? There's a lot of exciting things ahead, but I mean, I've been coaching now for a year, just over a year. I've loved it. I started teaching, as an adjunct. I haven't taught in a couple of years though, but I taught throughout COVID. I'm so committed to my shows. To Joseph Jaffe is Not Famous. I will tell you that I've made a decision. A little bit of a scoop here. The show will move to Sunday nights at 9 p.m. and it will be live. At the moment, I've been doing it at 1 p.m. and it's been pre-recorded. Marcus Black is going to be on the show, so I wanted him on. So I mean, I just it's a fresh. He's a fresh voice. He's got an interesting story. And so every Sunday night, I'm going to do it live through StreamYard on all my channels. And when Chatter is stable enough, I'll probably use it as a, we're thinking as maybe 15 minutes. This is what I was brainstorming, 15 minutes before the show. So you see the pre-pro, us talking to each other, and then a 30-minute after show. And then during, either just completely on mute, but I mean, learning tonight, maybe nothing during, or at least something that's on mute, just with a little, you know, like a banner just saying, be right back, or here's a URL to visit. You know, one of the things that I've been talking about a lot, I had a Doris Horenstein on my show, and she said she's got this concept. She says, are you living life in crescendo or living life in diminuendo? And ultimately, we're talking about that or that. So the way that I framed what she said was, are your best days ahead of you or your best days behind you? You know, I'm 53, and I believe fully that my best days are ahead of me. And I always ask people this question, and they always say ahead, but I don't believe them. You know, I mean, like, what are you doing to ensure that your best days are ahead of us? And just look at us, like, even with the technical issues, yeah, who gives a crap? You know, it's like, here we are pioneering, figuring things out. You know, like, it's weird. Like, I as happy as I am to have met both of you, and to know Max and Martin are here and some of the others in the room, there's, like, in a way, sometimes the sadness that so many people are out there doing dumb things and listening to in dumb rooms talking about, you know, like, just dumb things, when there's so many real conversations that are happening. But the connections we make are so meaningful, and so I believe, like, in this day and age of, like, anything is possible. Anything is possible. If you dream it, you can do it. So, like, I guess to, like, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm excited about it. And I think it's just going to be awesome. And as long as my body and my mind cooperate, because it's not always the case, I'm in it for the long haul. And I really just want to say I appreciate the opportunity to talk and be on this. And you know, and the technical stuff. I mean, I just want to say, like, to both of you, not that you need me to tell you this, but above everything, give yourself grace. You know, and like, I used to have, I had Tom Peters, I mean, who wrote In Search of Excellence, one of the greatest management gurus in our generation. And this was happening. He was crackling, and he couldn't hear me and whatever. And I was crying inside that I'd blown my chance with him. And in the end, I actually called him, and we were talking to each other on the phone, even though the StreamYard thing was going. And then I synced the sound of, like, the recording onto the video, but it was just awful still. He came back. He wrote another book, his last book, and they came back to me saying, would you like to interview Tom again? It turns out it was his birthday, and I sang happy birthday to him. I said, I'll bet you no one has ever, that has never happened to you before. He said, that has never happened to me before. One of the most amazing moments of my life. And so, you know, you've got to give yourself grace and realize that, you know, technology sucks at the best of times, but humanity will always prevail.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said.
All right, you guys, thank you. Thank you. That has been Authenticated
good
for
again.
this evening, and we appreciate you. We're going to shut down the live stream. Thank you guys all. Find us on Chatter. Find us all around. Have a great one.
So do I stay on the phone with you, or are you?
Yep.
You're going to end StreamYard?